Some quick headlines from what I think is the first UK poll since yesterday's budget. Now, last night we spoke to a representative sample of the UK, 1,600 people, of which 75% had read, seen or heard about the budget. I'm told if you extrapolate this out, it means the budget reached 30 million people by midnight last night. Now, first of all, you have to forgive me because I feel a little bit like Ed Miliband this morning. I only actually saw this data about 20 minutes ago, so I'm going to have a go at interpreting it. But in my mind, the key headline is the Conservative Party have won the battle, but it's not clear whether they have won the war. On the macro level, on economic management, big tick. But there's a big question mark over whether the government is actively addressing issues around cost of living. So let's quickly have a look at the data, which is on the screen behind me. We first asked about trust levels in parties and leaders to do what is right, and we're comparing data that we did last night with a data set from January. You'll see that the clear winners are the Conservatives, with David Cameron winning what my statistical guys here call, quote, borderline significant improvement. So that's encouraging. Labour is off by 10 points, Miliband is off by 10 points, and remember, yesterday was a coalition budget, but the Lib Dems are down and Nick Clegg is down. We then asked, how did the budget affect your trust in politicians to manage the economy? The Conservatives had the largest net increase and the smallest net decrease. Again, Lib Dems not faring well here, only 7% identifying a net increase in trust to manage the economy. However, when you ask whether the budget makes any difference to people's perception of their current standard of living, half say there will be no improvement. Now, yesterday's was a slightly unusual budget in that some of the big announcements on pensions and savings weren't actually leaked in advance, which made it quite difficult for the opposition to respond, and they ended up rehearsing next year's messaging around the cost of living. But we know that is a key issue for the public. And the next two slides, in my mind, show the battleground for the general election. On cost of living, 57% say their cost of living has increased since the last election. Add in those who say it stayed the same and you get almost 3/4. What you also see is a big gap between people's perception that the budget was good for Britain versus good for them personally, and that's what this slide shows. Very few identifying the budget as benefiting them personally. And we know from voter behaviour studies that the personal pocketbook, whether people feel richer or poorer, is an important driver of voting. Finally, from our overnight survey, how long is austerity going to go on for? And I think this is really interesting. It's clear that the message that we've still got a long way to go with cuts is actually landing. So 33% saying austerity will be here in 3 to 5 years, 28% saying 5 to 10 years. So some very interesting research in my mind. I hope that will stimulate the discussion this morning.